Today we have exercise 14. We will talk about isometric drawing. Now, last class we talked about what? A type of pictorial drawing, the oblique drawing. Please stop talking, okay? So we talked about the oblique type of drawing. And I told you that these type of pictorials, oblique drawing, the isometric drawing that we will talk about today, and next class, the axonometric ways, these type of pictorial drawings are used together with what? The orthographic multi-view drawing, okay? The orthographic multi-view drawing, what does it do? We said it shows the object from all its sides, basically, all its details. The pictorial drawings represent what we have here, but in a three-dimensional form, however, accurately. So this is not like perspective, where we go to the vanishing points, we don't have measurements. No, here we have measurements, we have scale. So what we have here, if we are using the same scale like the orthographic, you will apply it on the pictorial. If it's another scale, you will apply it. But in all cases, it has accurate measurements and scale. And last class, when we talked about the oblique drawing, we start with the front view. So what you have on the orthographic, the front view, parallel, the receding axis, all the lines are parallel to each other, and there are three types: at 30 degree, at 45, and at 60. Okay? Today we will look at the isometric drawing. This is another type of pictorial, and the isometric drawing is used more than the oblique drawing in design. So when you have the orthographic, usually orthographic, isometric, you will see that all the time asked of you. And there is one reason why this is more popular. The isometric is more popular than the oblique, because here we can see two receding axes. In the oblique, we have a parallel front view and one receding axis. So you don't see what's happening from the other side, but here we have two receding axes. So what does it mean? We can see more details of the object in 3D, okay, and at the same time accurate. So let us start with something, first of all, the rules in a simple way, then we will draw a cube, and then we will draw another example. So, you start with a ground line, okay? Like last time, we start with a ground line. But here, we don't start with a face, we start with an edge. So, we start with an edge, and then we have a receding axis from here, a receding axis from here. So, if you remember, it's kind of similar to the two-point perspective. So, the oblique is similar to the one-point perspective. This method similar to the two-point perspective. But here, all the lines from this side and all the lines from this side are parallel to each other. So, they don't go towards a vanishing point. They are parallel to each other, and this is very important, okay, to understand it, because only with these type of lines we can put accurate measurements, okay? Now, not only, there are other methods as well for the perspective, but when we have an orthographic drawing and we draw an isometric, want to represent a design, this is how it should be done, okay? To know for sure how something looks, okay? In 3D, at the same time to be with accurate measurements. So, it must be at 30 degree, the isometric. You cannot draw it with another degree. So 30 from here, 30 from here. So basically, you start with a ground line. You draw your first edge. So for example, if we have a cube of 10 centimeter, and I tell you draw it scale 1 to 1. What is scale 1 to 1? Meaning, if the cube is 10, we will draw it 10 on the paper. Okay? So, we have a cube of 10 centimeter, we have ground line, we draw the first edge. On the first edge, we will draw 10 centimeter. Then, we have line from here, line from here. You will take your ruler, this is the 30 degree, okay? Of course, you will need to use your T-square as well. and from here also. So this should be 30, and this should be 30. Okay? Now, how long they will be depends on what you are drawing. Now, on this line and on this line, if this is a 10 by 10 by 10 cube, we have here 10, we will have here 10. Okay? So we will actually take a ruler and draw 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like this. Okay? So this line must be the same like this, if it's a cube. And from this side, the same thing. So this here must be the same. Okay? Then we will draw lines up, line up. Now, if 10 ends here, okay, all of these lines must be what? Parallel to each other at 30 degrees. So, any line I take must be parallel and at 30 degrees. If I measure this, it must be 10. Okay, again. And from here, from this side, okay, this line must be parallel to this line. And again, so if I measure it 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, everywhere, okay? Now, from here, again, we will draw to continue the cube. Now, this line must be parallel with this line. And this line here that we will draw must be also parallel with this line. Now, here my drawing is not very accurate. Let me see here. Now, when you draw with the T-square correctly and the ruler, everything should be perfect. So, the cube will look basically like this. Let me remove the extra. So, all of these lines, this line parallel to each other, this line, parallel to each other. And of course, the hidden lines, okay, with dotted, you will draw them from here and from here. They are also going according to the rule, okay? Now, if you see that something doesn't add up, it's not parallel, that means you used your rulers wrong. You need to be very careful. Any line, this is a 10 by 10 by 10 cube, so any line I measure should be 10. Now, if I would draw this in two-point perspective, where we have the vanishing points, what will happen? If I would draw the same cube, I can put here 10 centimeters, but because this line and this line will go towards the vanishing point, this will be smaller than this. So it doesn't show us exactly what this object is. And this is a technical drawing. So at anywhere I look, okay, I see this is a 10 by 10 cube, so here is 10. Everywhere I should see must be 10. And I should basically understand. So because this is a cube, it's a very simple object. But if you have a more complicated objects with details, this type of drawing becomes very important. Because if I look here at the back, what's happening, or at the front, immediately I can tell what is the measurement. So I'm not confused by by lines that go towards vanishing points and become smaller, okay? It looks beautiful, the two-point perspective, but it doesn't give us the accuracy that this drawing gives us. So, this is a cube in 3D representation. Now, let us see if we want to draw a combination of cubes, what will happen. So, we have here a simple combination of one big cube, let's say it's 10 centimeter, and let's say this is a 5 centimeter cube. It doesn't really matter right now. It is the way that we should approach this drawing. That's important. So, let me delete this. So, we have the ground line, and we start with what? With the edge, the first edge. Now, here I have what did we say? one big cube and the others are all small. Let's say the big cube is 10 centimeter, 10 by 10, and the small one 5 by 5, let's say, okay? And we will draw this scale 1 to 1. So what we have here, we will put here. Great. Now, first of all, in the isometric drawing, you can actually draw it from any direction you see suitable. So you don't have to start with a particular one. If I see from here or from here or from here suitable, you can choose from where to draw it. Now, if it's a real design, you will choose the place where it will show the most details in the most beautiful way. But because this is a combination of cubes, I can choose basically anywhere. So let's start with, where shall we start? From here? Let's start from here, from this edge of the small cube, okay? So this is a 5 centimeter cube, so let's measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5. Now we will have two receding axes. So lines that go in this way, lines that go in this way. And all of them should be parallel. Okay. So since this is a 5 by 5 cube, and we have here this, so we need to measure. First we need to draw what? The 30-degree angle. And from here, okay. So this should be at 30. And we will measure what? 5 here, 5 here, okay? 5 here, 5 here. So you will draw cube by cube. Then, so from this line to this line, this should be parallel to this. This line should be parallel to this, and if we measure, this is also 5, this is 5, this is 5, this is 5. Great. Then this side, this line which should be parallel to this line, and this line which should be parallel to all of these lines. So this is the 5 centimeter cube, which I decided to start with from this edge. Here 5, here 5. Now, sorry, this one here, this one, okay? So this cube I started. Now, behind it is what? The big cube, which is the 10 centimeter cube. So, from here we already draw it. This is 5. We need another 10, okay, to finish the 10 cube. So, we will measure from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, okay? And we will draw the cube. Now from this side here, this line must be parallel to this line. I'm drawing the big cube. It doesn't end here because this is the 5 centimeter, okay? So we need another 5 centimeter. So you can measure from here, so 10, if this is 10, here, 10 from here. So it will end here. The line must be parallel, of course. So, parallel line. So this line here, let me delete it so it doesn't confuse. Okay. Okay, now it should be 10, 10, okay? Now we will finish the cube by continuing the lines. Let me just draw these also here. Now, it doesn't look great here because it's not accurately measured, but the important is to understand the technique. So, So we have a 5 by 5 centimeter cube here, 5, 5, 5. Anywhere where we measure on the isometric, it should be a 5. The 10, then we have a 10 cube next to it, 10 centimeter. So if this is 10, this must be 10, this must be 10, this must be 10, this 10, and so on. And all these lines must be parallel to each other at 30 degrees. Now, if you don't use your T-square and the ruler at all times while drawing this, you will end up with not a correct drawing. So you will end up with something what I'm doing. Okay? So one line will not be parallel, it will not be the correct measurements, and so on. So be careful. Now, we started what? The small cube. Then we have a big cube next to it. And the small cube located here, so there is an extra 5 centimeter. Now, if I measure this distance, it should be 5. Okay? So the isometric at anywhere I measure, it's the real measurement, okay? Or the scaled measurement. Now, we have here what? Another small cube attached here in this area. Huh? So we will draw this one now. So the lines must be what? Parallel to all of these lines. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, from here also, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or from this line, if I put it up here, I can measure from here also, and the 5 is also like this, so I can continue with this line here. So, this cube is the 5 centimeter cube. So if I measure here should be 5, here should be 5, here 5, here 5, here 5, here 5. Okay? Exactly 5. If you make a small mistake, like these lines, for example, are not parallel to each other, but a little bit shifted, you will end up with extra millimeters or less. You must use your rulers correct, 100%, okay? And the paper must be fixed on the table with the tape. Otherwise, I'm telling you, it will not be correct. It will look like my drawing. So, now, let's continue here. So we have this cube we draw, and this cube we draw. We have now this on top here. This here at the back, we will not be able to see it, but actually we will be able to see it. So there is a small cube here at the back. So there is a continuation of this line. How long? 5 centimeters. So you need to measure from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's the same here. Here is the stop. Here is down. And this line will go parallel to all the other lines towards the back. So it looks kind of weird, the isometric, because if sometimes they fit kind of exactly together. But because we are dealing with cubes, that's why it looks like that. But if you have another kind of design, it will not look in this way. So this cube is here at the back, located in this area, this one. And we started at this edge. This is our starting edge here, this one here. And this one here and this one. So we will draw these 3 cubes. Where are they located? On top of here in this area, okay? So, let me see here, this object is not very accurate, but never mind. So, from anywhere I can start measuring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And because this is here the same, let's say this is here the 5. This line and this line should be parallel to each other. Okay? Then, from here up from here. How much up? 5 centimeters. So you can measure from here or from here, it doesn't matter, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or the same size like this. Then, this line parallel to this line, parallel, this is the back line, I don't see very well from here, okay. So this line should be parallel to this line. All the lines that go in this way are parallel to each other. All the lines that go in this way should be parallel at 30 degrees. Now, it's two cubes here. So this is here 10 centimeter. We divide. So this should be 5 and the other 5. Now, if it was perspective drawing, what will happen? This cube will be bigger and this will become smaller because it goes to the vanishing point. But because it's not perspective, we divide exactly in the middle. Okay? This is 5, this is 5. Great. And this line with this line with this line all should be parallel to the other lines. Now there is another cube on top. And it takes the middle of this and the middle of this. Okay? So it's like in the middle. So from here, 2.5. So 1, 2.5. And from here, 1, 2.5. And lines up. Lines up. Okay? And the same thing. This line with this line parallel. This line with this line parallel. These lines should be parallel. These lines parallel. These lines. And this line. All of these are back lines. Okay? So, if we have a cube that ends from here and from here, here 2.5, here 2.5, up the lines and the same rules. Okay? So, this is basically how you will draw your model that you have, okay, in isometric. Now, in your model, you have three types of cubes. 115, 110, and 1.5. So, you will draw in scale 1 to 2. Not 1 to 1, 1 to 2, because if you draw scale 1 to 1, you won't have space on the paper. There will be no space here. Okay? So, you need to draw 1 to 2 scale. In 1 to 2 scale, this will be the measurements of the cubes. Now here we have a lot of examples, but these examples are from the previous students with other cubes and other measurements. But in general, you can see what they look like, the drawings, okay? The models. So we need to see the ground line, we need to see the first stage and how it started building the cubes. Each student with their own model, okay? And so on. You need to put a box in any technical drawing. You need to have here not only your name, but also the scale and the units. It's very important because I need to know, is this the real size or is it a half size or is it what? We don't know until you tell me, okay? So, I will put these on the table for you to have a look at as example. As you can see, there is also always a starting edge, and there is lines that recede in this way, lines that recede in this way. All of them are parallel at 30 degrees. This is very important. So let me put this here. What else is here important? Here I also have a drawing of a cube. Okay? So it will look something like this when you make it. I will put it here. So, the homework I already explained. You will have two sheets. One sheet you will draw the cube, 10 by 10 centimeters, scale 1 to 1. And another sheet, your model, scale 1 to 2 in isometric. Any questions about this method? Okay. I brought with me 2 exams from the quiz, okay? 2 quizzes from the 2 students who received full mark, okay? Full mark here, full mark here. This is for whoever received a bad mark and is interested to know what is the correct answer, okay? So you can come to me and I can give you the paper to see and the drawing to see how a 10, basically out of 10 mark looks like. So how are the answers? Where are your mistakes? Okay, so if you're interested, come to me to see here. And that's it basically for today. We close.